Thread of Climate Insanity by Professor Steve Austin, who I follow on Twitter and I find to be quite rational. Epic thread of climate insanity so far this week. June 18th to 23rd, and he says he's likely missing a lot. So we start with The Guardian. Unheard of marine heat wave off UK and Irish coasts poses serious threats. Sustained high temperatures over summer could trigger mass mortality of fish and oysters, say scientists. It's unheard of. Epic thread of climate insanity, Bill McKibben. The truly terrifying news this week is not what happened deep beneath the sea. It's what's going on the surface. Epic thread of climate insanity. Sweating in winter? Northern Argentina and Paraguay and adjacent areas of Bolivia and Brazil are about to experience a record-breaking warmth for June. Temperatures in Argentina, Chacao is expected to reach 32°C, 34°C, and in Paraguay, 36°C and 37°C in the next days. Stay tuned. Epic threat of climate insanity. Weather tracker. China issues heat stroke alert amid historic heat wave. Parts of northeast China are in the grip of a historic heat wave, with hundreds of weather stations recording record highs for the month of June. Epic thread of climate insanity. Extreme temperatures around the world. More all the time, and monthly records broken in this historic heat wave in China. Hottest day in history for all of these cities. 6 stations in China broke historical records today, and 2 stations broke records in June. It is worth mentioning that Tibet also encountered heat wave details. Kuona broke the record high, and Linzai broke the highest in June. Epic thread of climate insanity so far this week. Almost half a month's worth of rain fell in 1 hour on Sunday, and that was in the UK. Epic thread of climate insanity. Brett has formed in the central tropical Atlantic. The farthest east that a tropical storm has formed in the tropical Atlantic this early in the calendar year on record. Epic thread of climate insanity so far this week. Jeff Baradelli. Global oceans are severely hotter than we have ever observed since records began. There are several ocean heat waves. El Nino, which is such a danger for Galapagos marine life. Boiling tropical Atlantic equals early hurricanes. Cat 5 marine heat wave in the UK. And then he had a thread. Epic thread of climate insanity so far this week. Nearly 100 die as India struggles with a sweltering heat wave in 2 of the most populous states. Epic threat of climate insanity. Brutal heat wave in Mexico. All-time highest temperatures were obliterated again. And here are those most important records today. In Monclovia, Torreon, and Nuevo Laredo, and many others. Next days, we can approach 50°C, both in northeast and northwest Sonora. Epic threat of climate insanity so far this week, June 18th to 23rd, and I'm likely missing a lot, he says. Insane, astonishing jet stream leaves scientists at a loss for words. epic thread of insanity. Jeff Baradelli again. The ring of fire. It's a term meteorologists use when the edge of a heat dome helps feed intense, severe weather like the violent tornado yesterday in West Texas and the 97-mile-per-hour gust squall in Houston. Storms fired up on the edge of the record-breaking ridge. Epic threat of climate insanity so far this week. British Columbia rivers on track for driest summer in recorded history. This is much closer to what we've been expecting in climate change scenarios in the 2050s and 2080s, said the head of BC's River Forecast Center. Epic threat of climate insanity. It is now clear that the Earth's climate system is way out of kilter, and we should be concerned. Gulp. Please tell us how there is still time for incremental and non-disruptive action. Epic threat of climate insanity so far this week. Ecological tipping points could occur much sooner than expected, study finds. We could realistically be the last generation to see the Amazon, but please tell us how there is still time for incremental and non-disruptive actions. Epic thread of climate insanity so far this week, and I'm likely missing a lot. For another way of looking at the ongoing North Atlantic sea surface temperature spike, here are the temperatures of the North Atlantic on the summer solstice, June 21st, for every year 1982 to 2023. Epic. Thank you, Professor. And Jeff Baradelli again on this epic threat of climate insanity. Remarkable heat wave on June 19th, Mexico and Texas. Climate change makes the impossible probable. And then there are the people that are called what? Deniers. It's a concerted effort, and barely anybody saw Professor Austin's post. After reading that Twitter thread, I thought it was important to talk about denial a bit, because the denialists are out big time. So I think the term denial, of course, is a psychological construct. And there are four types, actually. The first is denial of the fact, which is what we are seeing all over social media. It's happening everywhere. The second denial is a denial of impact. This attempt by the person you confront to minimize the importance of the event you're bringing to their attention, in our case, climate change, ecological disaster, extinction of every kind of species you can imagine. The third is the denial of accountability. This is an attempt to avoid responsibility. And the avoiding of responsibility is happening all over the planet, and it is proliferating. It's like a Band-Aid has been ripped off of insanity. And the last type of denial is denial of hope. Have we been denying hope? I don't know. It takes the form of refusing to acknowledge the willingness to do the work to improve the situation. However, there are many people who have been, yet it gets worse. Denial is based on one very specific desire, for something to be not true. If you're in denial, you're trying to protect yourself by refusing to accept the truth about something that's happening. It's a coping mechanism that gives you time to adjust to distressing situations, but staying in denial interferes with the ability to tackle challenges. So what do we do? Where do we go? It's not easy to shape public opinion when the facts are against you, yet the facts are not against us, the people that bring the science out. The facts are against them, the people like the fossil fuel industry who are fueling this, to say to say it in that way, that are fueling this online social media trend of trolls and denialists. It's quite scary. But what can you do? Give them the facts, which we've been doing. The more I think about all of this, it just brings more questions to my mind about doing what we can do. Is it just living your life devoid of hope? Is it living your life in just a small vacuum of what you can do, what you're absolutely able to do for yourself, for your life, for your family? Or is it acceptance? Is it the post-doom, post-gloom, which I am trying to be post-doom, post-gloom. This week it isn't working. Sandra Shellis for Environmental Coffee.